Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Raising an Ace.
What's up? Say hi, Ace. Come on.
Say hi.
Mwah.
Today's episode is going to teach Ace how to be loving.
Yeah, which is so important because everyone can benefit from more loving people in this world, right, Ace?
Yes.
Everyone can benefit from that. And no, this video is to raise a loving child and not to be a loving parent.
Right.
But I want to mention, being a loving parent is the most important thing for your children. Particularly those first few years of life, showing love to your child and fostering their intelligence are the biggest things.
Right.
And there's several aspects of love we're going to go into in this video.
Yeah.
The first one is just loving life in general. This is tied in with our gratitude video that we did on just appreciating life. And if we notice Ace has any hatred towards situations or something like that, we'll try to flip it. So if he says, I hate that this project is due tomorrow, we're going to flip that. Why not love the opportunity to work on this project and get better?
Yeah.
And just the physical space around him, just love things. You know, the broadest example ever is Earth itself. You know, love Earth by not littering on the ground. Right. You know, love your community, love Earth itself and the world around you.
That's true.
And just like activities that he does, we want him to show love during that. So whether it's he's 6 years old and it's an after school activity or it's a hobby when he's age 12, find what you love and show love through that.
Right.
And I'm thinking of a Kobe Bryant quote with this example when he said that one time on a podcast, when you love something, you'll go through fire for it. You'll go through the ups and the downs. So it's like if you love something, you'll persevere through whatever, pretty much. And Mariam, this is particularly important for a career or something like that. For any activity that he spends a lot of time doing.
Right.
So we're really going to try to foster reflection in Ace to think about what he loves, what he enjoys doing. Yeah. And remember in the last video we talked about happiness has to come from the inside, not the outside. Yeah. The same thing with love. Right. So Ace, you're a little fuster ball today. A little fuster ball. Yeah. So Ace, if you say like you love a job because of the money, that's not true love. We want him to love a job for the job itself, passion from the job. Right. And then,
that way it doesn't feel like work every day. If you love it, you'll just do it.
And that's like career standpoint, just anything in terms of occupying your time. Yeah. And then once you find something you love, how are you showing love to the world through this too? We want Ace to use whatever platform he has for the greater good, show love to the world. Right. And of course, a big part of love is showing love to people. And this is tied into our positivity video in that people like being around loving people just like people like being around positive people. So Mariam and I, we're going to be on a united front to get Ace to be as kind as possible. We're not going to tolerate mean or disrespectful attitudes at all. Yes. And this is with anyone in his life, the bus driver, a teacher, family members. Right. We want him to be humble enough to uplift other people, show love to people. Yes. And even now, Mariam, like any person that Ace sees, he's waving hello to them. Yes. You know,
he speaks to everybody.
Yeah, we're encouraging that. You know, even people that can do nothing for him. Say if we walk by someone living on the street, what's his attitude towards them? Right. You know, and this is kind of a deeper point, but even if he has love for them, is it a genuine sort of love? Or is it a sympathy sort of love where he feels bad for them and he's looking down on them? We don't want that either. No. We want him to look eye to eye with people, value them for just being them.
That's true.
You know, so that's a really powerful thing. Yeah. And this goes for everyone. So even people that are mean to him, how's he going to respond to that? You know, is he going to respond with hatred back at them or love? Love. I'm thinking of a Martin Luther King quote when he said one time that hate does not drive out hate, only love does that. So we want Ace, just like I do, just like Mariam does, we show compassion to our haters pretty much. Yes. Not that we have many, but you get the point. Right. And a couple of examples are, say a 5-year-old is too aggressive during recess. You know, be compassionate towards that, find out why. So maybe someone 6 years old stole his pencil. He comes back from the bathroom and he sees that. You know, how's he going to respond?
He's going to say, I see that you're using my pen. Can I have it back, please?
Yeah.
You know, it's something like that.
Yeah, and maybe say like, look, I'm not mad at you. You know, I hope you're okay. How are you feeling? Right, you know, that's the definition of killing someone with kindness, pretty much. Yes. People are intimidated by kindness a lot of the time, but kindness dissolves a lot of conflict in the world. And you may be asking me, so isn't that kind of soft a little bit? And it's only soft if it's coming from a place of fear and not a place of strength. So if Ace is just being kind to that classmate, for example, because he's scared of that classmate, that's different.
Yeah.
But if it's from a place of strength, that's not a bad thing.
Right.
And being tough and loving, that's the goal for Ace. That's a really rare but really powerful combination to have those two.
Yeah.
And the next thing that I want to mention with this is that he's not going to be taken advantage of. So we don't want him to be too loving or too kind to people. A metaphor I like is it's like a cup. You're not kind of pouring your stuff from one cup to someone else's cup. Your cup is overflowing, and your greatness is overflowing onto other people. So don't sacrifice your greatness for other people. Always take care of yourself first, pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, if there's 2 sandwiches and Ace is hungry, don't give both away. Like, eat one because you're hungry, and if you're satisfied, give one to someone else. You know, we really want to foster that caring for other people's well-being into Ace.
Yes.
And even now, say we have a mini basketball hoop in this house. Say there's like 2 or 3 balls we got. Is Ace just going to hog all the balls, or is he going to share the fun with me or another friend that he has?
Right.
Not that I'm his friend, I'm his father, but either me or a friend. And if he does share the ball with me, I may say something like, Ace, that's kind of you. You care about my fun also.
Right.
So he'll understand the importance of well-being for everyone around him. And also, a lot of negative and unloving behaviors in the world can be solved by oftentimes prioritizing the opposite, which is love. So a lot of times when a child is misbehaving, some parents just like, don't do this, don't do that. That's bad behavior. But why not flip that and just emphasize the positive, like we mentioned in the positivity video?
Yeah.
So I thought of a few really good examples with this. So if he's 3-4 years old, fussing at the grocery store, how are we going to respond to that? You know, he's maybe being rude and annoying to the people around him. So the opposite of that is being loving to the people around him.
Right.
So we may say something like, Ace, you're a loving person. You know, you're not really showing that right now. Let people around here enjoy your presence. You know, so hopefully that will get him in a more respectful space to the people around him.
Right.
Another example, talking at the movie theater, right? That's disrespectful. That's not courteous. Why not emphasize like, Ace, we know you're a respectful person, so monitor your voice tone in this theater.
Yeah.
Or at the beach, you run by someone near the water and water splashes on them. That's not really considerate. Be more loving.
Right.
So always frame things in a loving way, even through maybe misbehaviors.
Yes. Instead of don't say the bad, say what you want them to do. That's good.
And honestly, like, that's so key.
Yeah.
And honestly, the whole point of the whole video series that we're doing is prioritizing the good too.
Yeah.
And I want to mention too, a part of this is being mindful of other people and how your decisions affect them. We're going to talk about mindfulness in the last video, but we're going to go back to that point too. And we need to just model all forms of love for Ace. So we're just going to be kind to each other too. And if we slip up, that's all right. So if say I do something mean to his mom, like I say I'm going to wash the dishes, but I don't, or I say a rude comment, the next day I may say to Ace, like, Ace, I wasn't loving to your mom yesterday when I did this. Tomorrow I'm going to be better. So we can normalize. Sometimes you're not loving all the time, but you want to try to be. Or I may say, Ace, I wasn't loving to myself yesterday when I did this. I have to prioritize self-care more.
Yeah.
And this leads into my next point, which is the biggest and most important form of love, which is self-love.
Yeah.
Self-love is probably the most important concept in the whole video series.
Yes.
At the very least.
Sorry.
Yeah.
How can you love anybody else if you don't love yourself?
Yeah, self-love is the core for a lot of what you do in life. Yeah. At the very least, it's on par with authenticity and open-mindedness. And it's like, we want Ace to make other people smile, but we want him to make himself smile even more.
Yes.
And I want to frame this a little bit on the importance of self-love. So I really think this is the number one issue in America or the world at large. A lot of the violence and all the negative behaviors you can think of stem from a lack of self-love. So why is that?
Because they're angry.
Yeah, and sometimes people just act out for any attention whatsoever, positive or negative. They look for validation from other people. It's like when you don't care about yourself, when you don't love yourself, what's the point of getting better? Yeah. Right? If you're not receiving love from other people and you don't love yourself, that's a bad combination. Then you're like, look, I don't care what I do. I don't even care if I live or die, as an extreme example. That's when people commit a lot of violence. And I call it too, a symbolic suicide almost.
Yeah.
Because even if you're not trying to commit violence, you're not prioritizing making yourself better, becoming your best self, because you don't even love yourself.
Right.
So it's almost the death of your best self by having negative attitudes and not becoming your best self. It's a very serious thing. And some parents, Mariam, they think, oh, self-love is so easy to obtain. It's not. So many adults have low self-esteem, have low self-love, even though their parents were loving towards them. So it's not so simple. Some parents unintentionally diminish their child's self-love. Even right now, there's a lot of negativity on the news, a lot of adverse circumstances and deep topics. Us as parents, we have to be intentional about talking about these adverse and traumatic subjects. Really quickly, I'll mention race in particular. A lot of the conversations I'm hearing online and on the news are unproductive, lazy, and it almost traumatizes children, white kids, black kids, and all children. You have to be very conscious about that. I'm not going to go too deep into that. But the point is, when you're talking about serious subjects, be very conscious that it doesn't diminish your child's self-love and self-esteem.
Yes.
And self-love too, you have to balance this with loving other people and being humble too. Because if you don't, your child's going to have a destructive form of self-love. They're going to be full of themselves and they're going to be conceited.
Yeah.
So that's not going to happen as long as they love other people and are humble.
Right.
And Mariam, with Ace, this is tied to our confidence video too on how to foster this. So we want Ace to understand his uniqueness, him being an individual.
Right.
And one exercise with this is in a book, we're going to have Ace just write down. You're all right, Ace, you little fusterball.
It's okay.
But in a book, Mariam is attending to him right now. In a book, we're going to have Ace mention what makes him him. And he'll write down everything that makes him him, maybe over the course of his lifetime. We want him to understand he's Ace Donato. Present himself with pride. And when he has self-love, he'll care about making himself amazing. And we're going to look out when he's too harsh on himself too, when he makes mistakes. So everyone makes mistakes. That's all right. Say something like, I didn't do well on this. I'll do better next time. Don't say, I didn't do well on this and I don't care how I do next time. So we're going to call out any lack of care for what he's doing right away. Because when you don't care about yourself or something you're doing, showing a lack of respect for yourself, that's a telltale sign of a lack of self-love and self-esteem. So we're going to call that out. Always care about what you do, Ace, no matter what.
Yeah.
And a part of this too is label for us and for Ace, label his behavior, not him. So I'm going to look out for Ace saying, I am a bad person. I am a mean person. Don't say that. Say, I did something mean. Say, I did something bad. Those are two different things. Go back to the grocery store example. We're always going to label Ace in a positive way. Ace, you're loving. And then we're going to label his behavior accordingly. And we want it to match who he is.
Right.
So framing it from that lens, that's going to really help your child's self-love going forward. And as you said, Mariam, self-love is key to everything. Once you have that, the optimal amount of that, then you can love other people, you can love the world. And this is such an important conversation. We're hearing so much nowadays, and really my whole life. You know, everyone wants love in the world, right?
Yeah.
But honestly, I'm not hearing much deep, real conversations on how to create it. It's not so simple. If it was, the whole world would be at peace and would be loving.
Yeah.
So I hope this conversation contributes to that. And you watching this, facilitate love in your child. Get them to be loving. Get other people around you to be loving. And then in turn, show love to the world.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And thank you guys for watching. I'm just going to grab Ace and then he'll say bye to you guys.
And one thing I want to mention too, no lie, 2 minutes before this video, our camera broke. So we're filming this on my iPhone. So hopefully it turns out just as clear. We're going to buy a new camera, hopefully, for the next video.
Yes.
Say goodbye, Ace.
Say bye.
Stuff in your mouth with little chips. with the green pea chips. More healthy than the regular chips.
Right.
But anyway, take care till next time. Show love to the world.
All right. Bye, guys.